Hey guys, today on the podcast, I thought it would be really interesting if I share our family income, how our family budget is set up, and what our family ecosystem is, down to the dollar, how exactly we spend our money and how we budget our money as a family. So the Army is really interesting in the fact that everybody's pay is completely public. So right now you can just Google what each different rank makes. My husband Nate is a captain or O-3 in the Army. He's been in for about 5 years. And so his base pay is $85,348. When you add housing on top of that, that brings a total income of $109,612. Since I am a stay-at-home mom right now and I am not currently freelancing, we are living totally off of his income. The median household income in Arizona right now is around $78,000. And so we are definitely above that. And I recognize that. I know every state is different, but I thought it would be really interesting and maybe helpful just to share how exactly we set up our budget and how we plan our money and what exactly we're spending on everything, right? Maybe that would be helpful or interesting to hear. So big picture, if you just want to see if this is even going to be remotely relevant, we have 2 kids. We have a toddler and a newborn, or not newborn, I guess, 4-month-old now. We have 2 big dogs. As of our turning 30, we do not have student loans anymore, so we are student loan free. And we have 2 cars that are financed each on a 5-year loan. We invest a little bit into our Roth IRAs, and we do not have any outstanding credit card debt. So that is a little bit of our money landscape. So for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to run through every single item in our budget. There are 4 categories. The first is giving. The second is bills or anything that is charged on a monthly recurring basis. That is what I consider to be bills here. The third are savings buckets, so things that we are setting aside for a specific purpose. And the last is spending, so things like groceries and eating out. If you're not interested in this and you just want to hear me talk about big picture money things and money mindset, just skip ahead to the 9-minute mark. So I have my budget spreadsheet pulled up. I do all of this in Google Sheets, but I also use the Rocket Money app for me. My brain just needs the spreadsheet. So I'm going to run through that. A couple of disclaimers. Number 1, if you're looking at the physical sheet, if you're watching the YouTube version, or if you're clicking the link in my show notes and you want to pull up my spreadsheet, 1, the net monthly pay that you see here does not include our housing because that is taken out of Nate's paycheck before it hits our account, and it does not include the 5% he gives towards his TSP or his thrift saving plan. And so what we actually are working with each month is $6,287. The second disclaimer I want to give is if you see me skipping over a couple of items, that's just me skipping over anything that has to do with our Tennessee home that we own and we're renting out to renters. There's a couple of expenses and income there and saving things, but that's kind of its whole other thing that's not really related to our family budget because it all just kind of pays for itself. So if you skip over a couple of things, that's why. So let's go ahead and dive into everything. All right, rapid fire, here we go. This is everything we spend on an O-3 income in the Army. That's $6,287 that hits our account each month after housing. Let's go. We spend $102 on our phone bill with T-Mobile. We spend $164 each contributing to our Roth IRA and Vanguard. We spend $482 on my husband's 2015 Ford F-150. That's on a 5-year loan. And my 2017 Volvo XC90 car payment on a 5-year loan is $341 a month. I spend $3 on Rocket Money. That's my budget subscription, my budget app. We spend $70 a month on internet, $150 a month on auto insurance, $10 a month on our family Google storage account, $20 a month on Spotify, $33 a month on Descript, which is my podcast editing tool, $3 a month on Uber One, $52 annually, which breaks down to $4.38 a month on our family password vault. We spend $85 a month on YouTube TV, and our Walmart Plus and our Peacock is reimbursed monthly because of our Amex card, so that is $0. Going on to tithing and giving, we set aside $737 in our family giving account or our tithe account. If we're active in a local church, we'll give to our local church. We fund a couple of different ministries, and because it's in its own savings account, we always have money set aside in case we see somebody in need and want to help someone out. We always have that. So that is $737 a month. We set aside $67 a month for gifts. So someone's birthday or baby shower, anything like that, we have a gift budget. The third category that I mentioned is savings. So this is anything that we are setting aside for a future expense. So we set aside $40 a month for running shoes, $83 a month for both Nate and I to have $500 for our birthdays. So $83 a month times 12 is $1,000 for us each to have $500 for our birthdays. In the same vein, we set aside $25 a month for both of our girls to have $150 on each of their birthdays. And we set aside $25 a month for both of our girls to have $150 for Christmas. We are right now setting aside $291 for family vacations, which is not much right now, but that's what we're rolling with. We set aside $500 for medical and counseling. We're in active therapy and we pay $350 a month for therapy. We also have some copays and things like that. And this is also the fund for my contacts. We have an Army fund that is fully funded where we want it to be right now. So right now we're just setting aside $25 for my husband to get a haircut. And that's considered the Army budget right now. We set aside $200 a month for repairs. We need a new air compressor or nails or tools or something broke. That's what that repair fund is for. And then now on to spending. So this is anything that we're spending throughout the month that we want to keep in check. So this is not anything that's being charged to us monthly. This is not anything that we're setting aside for the future. This is money that we actively spend every single month throughout the month. So we each have $200 a month for fun money. That's no questions asked. My husband gets $200 a month in his Cash App. He gets to spend that however he wants. I get to spend my $200 however I want every single month. If I want a balayage, if I want new clothes, if I want specialty makeup or skincare, that comes out of the fun money. And my husband can go on however many grocery or drive-through or gas station trip runs he wants because that's all coming out of his fun money. We spend about $300 a week on groceries or $1,200 a month. This includes anything from toilet paper, deodorant, sunscreen, anything that you would get at the grocery store is just all inclusive in this budget, including diapers and wipes. We spend $500 a month eating out. We spend $100 on our pet food, nail trims, treats, things like that. $200 on gas and $200 on home goods, which is things like clothes for the girls, new picture frames, kitchen tools, things like that. So that is everything that we spend per month. So now I'm just going to talk about some big picture money things that I've learned throughout the year. Couple disclaimers. One, I am definitely not a financial advisor, and I know little to nothing about investing. This is me just sharing some things that I've learned since we've been married for about 8 years now, and just ways that we have learned to manage our money, project spending, track expenses, and get on the same team. So let me rewind a little bit. When Nate and I were first married, we were fresh out of college. I mean, I'm talking like the month after we graduated college, we got married. And so we were both sort of thrown into the deep end of life, if you will, just learning how to swim, learning how to manage our money and combining money, and when do our student loan payments kick in, and how are we going to make this work, and what is a utility bill, and how do taxes work, and all of these things. And so a lot of what I'm going to say is stemmed from everything we learned from that time period and beyond. The first thing is, and that I have to talk about, is generosity. So when we were in those early days and I was job searching and Nate had just had a job, I think he was getting paid like maybe $30,000, $35,000 a year. This was in 2017. And so we were both living off of that income, and we were just really drowning, really trying to figure it out. And I did not have a job yet. and we were bumming off of our neighbor's Wi-Fi. People below us were gracious enough to pay our water bill. Like it was just a hilarious time looking back. Like, what were we doing? But when I started my first job at a marketing agency about 6 months after we got married, I had to get an advance on my paycheck. I had to walk into their office and ask, can I please, like, would you mind if I got my paycheck a little bit early because our electricity was shut off? And I had to go to my boss who just hired me and ask for an advance because we did not have electricity in our house. And so we have had so many people be so generous to us throughout the years. I mean, I could spend a whole episode talking about generosity, but for instance, in those early days as well, one of our cars broke down and it was at a shop, and the shop owner at the auto mechanic shop was gracious enough to give us like a week or something to come up with the money for, I don't remember all the details exactly, but I remember he was really kind. And we were sitting at dinner with our friends who were probably 5 or 10 years older with us, and they said, hey, like, how can we pray for you guys? And Nate and I just looked at each other and with tears in our eyes because we were so stressed about this. And we were like, honestly, we really need a miracle. We need $300 by Sunday or something. And they both just looked at each other and they said, sure, we'll give you $300. Like, no questions asked. They went straight to the ATM. They handed us cash and they were so generous to us. And when you are so desperate for money and you feel such an intensity to come up with money for something that you need, and someone comes alongside you and they take care of that for you and they just hand that to you, no questions asked, it is indescribable. It just spurs you on to be so generous towards other people because you know how incredible that feels. I'm sure a lot of you listening can relate to that. And so, for example, because we have our tithe money, our giving money set aside, like I said, we're always in a position to be able to help someone in need. So one quick story on this, I'll try to make this brief, but this just really encapsulates like what this whole budget means to us. So I was in Aldi one day and there was a lady in front of me who was getting her groceries ringed up, and the cashier told her the total and she could not pay for her groceries. And so I stepped in and, I was seeing she was trying to like figure out coupons and try different cards and all these things. And she was becoming increasingly flustered. And so I stepped in and I said, hey, can I pay for your groceries? I would love to pay for your groceries. And, she was just blown away. Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. As she was walking out, she only had a couple things in her cart. And so I said, hey, let's go back in and why don't you just fill up your cart? Like, seriously, like, I got you. Let's go back in the store. I want you to fill up your cart, get anything and everything you want and need. We're going to fill up your cart and we're going to leave here. And so this lady, it was like Christmas Day for her. She was going throughout Aldi. She was putting in like steaks and toilet paper and snacks. She ended up being a Sunday school teacher. And so she was able to put all of her kids' favorite snacks in the cart and her husband's favorite things. And to know that I was in a position to be able to do that was incredible. Like, that is peak human experience, peak humanity, just getting to do that for someone. Like, when the Bible says it's more blessed to give than receive, it's 100% true, because there is no better feeling than being able to meet someone in their need and help them. And so that was just incredible. And as she was checking out with her, pushing her cart up to the front, it's so full to the brim. I mean, there were things like leaning out the sides, the bottom was stuffed, and the cashier, who had just experienced her ringing out before and coming up short, saw her come through again with this cart full of groceries, and the cashier just started crying. And the lady who was buying groceries for was able to pray over her and invite her to church. It was just like a special moment. And God works through money, and being disciplined enough to set aside money for God to work through you and work through your money is incredible. There's also, I think, a heart piece of that, where if you're always setting aside an agreed upon money between you and God and your family, there's just a discipline in that and a heart check in that, right? It's a monthly reminder that God has got you and this is his money. Everything that you have is his, and he is your provider, and he's the one that's going to take care of you. And that's just a way for you to remind yourself of that. And so that is what I wanted to say about generosity and giving. Having that be a priority in our money ecosystem and our budget has been incredible, and we're never going to go without it. The second thing I want to talk about is to just have grace for yourself. Oh my gosh, just have grace for yourself. I am a little bit nervous to share this episode in full transparency because I know that there are going to be people listening that are like, oh, you're only setting aside $164 a month for your Roth IRA. You should be maxing that out. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing spending $500 a month eating out? What are you doing spending $350 a month on therapy? What are you doing financing 2 vehicles? You know what I mean? Like, you should be paying cash for cars. And like, there are so many loud voices when it comes to the money space. And I just want to be somebody that speaks to anyone listening, just to say, the fact that you are listening to this, the fact that you are being intentional about your money and creating a budget is a huge win. And that is something that should be celebrated. And nobody can tell you what you need to do with your money unless you want them to. Like, it's you and it's your priorities and it's the thing that matters to you. Everybody has to find that balance between spending things on what they want now and the life that they want to have now versus the life that they're building in the future. And that is a personal decision. It's a decision that you should make with you and your family and get on the same team about that, and then have confidence in that. And I'm preaching to myself right now too, because I'm really hard on myself when it comes to this. And I know what it's like to leave the grocery store and cry in the parking lot because you spent $30 over and you blew your grocery budget or whatever it is. Groceries are crazy these days, right? It's like, I'm curious to know what everyone is spending on groceries. And then the fact that, oh my gosh, like I keep having to raise my grocery budget and raise my grocery budget because it is so expensive. And now we're going to have to like maybe add formula in there. And what is that going to do to our grocery budget? And it's just, it can be so stressful. And so just have grace for yourself. It takes time to figure out what things cost and what you want to prioritize. That takes years. Honestly, it took us years. And every single month we are ebbing and flowing and adjusting and working on ways to make this work for us and to prioritize the things that we want to prioritize. We're moving to Washington State after this, which is way more expensive than Arizona. And so I'm going to have to probably do another episode or share my updated budget in the future. But overarching theme here is to just have grace for yourself and know that if you are being intentional about your money, you're watching your money, you're not just neglectfully spending or blindly spending, that should be celebrated, and you are doing an incredible job. And if no one has told you that today, you're doing an incredible job. The third thing I want to talk about is expense tracking. It can be really easy to say, oh, I wasn't actually getting a snack at the gas station. I was getting gas, and categorizing something as your gas money as opposed to a snack at the grocery store. And I just want to say that that is really only doing yourself a disservice. It can be really tempting to do that because you'll have that quote unquote win of staying within a certain budget and fudging another budget. But really, you're only lying to yourself in that sense. And so just ask yourself, what is going to give me the most accurate picture of my spending habits so that I can adjust what needs to be adjusted according to my wants and needs? What's going to give me the most accurate picture? Not what's going to make me feel good in this moment or make me feel good this month because I technically got within a certain budget or whatever. Just be honest. Just be honest and own what you spent and adjust, because you want to be able to have that accurate picture and make adjustments as needed. No month is ever going to be the same. There is no month that is going to go by where you can predict down to the dollar exactly how that month is going to go. It's just not going to happen. So just be flexible. with your spending and just be honest with what you're spending as well. The next thing I want to talk about is fun money. Fun money has been an absolute marriage saver for us. I mean, halfway joking. Like, I am the person in our marriage that really likes to expense track and keep tabs on everything, and it would just drive me up the wall when I would see charge after charge, like little charges here and there of Nate going through a drive-through or getting a snack at a gas station or whatever. It would just drive me crazy. It just felt like I was having, like, there was just like this drain in the ship that I couldn't control. And for him, it was like having someone over his shoulder and like breathing on him like constantly. And so it was just not a good dynamic. And I'm sure a lot of you listening can relate. But what we discovered and what we have done for 5 or 6 years now, seriously, is we're like, okay, you know what? We're going to each have a dedicated amount. For us, it's $200 each that we upload to our Cash App fund. And you can do this through Venmo. You can do this through Cash App. We just did it through Cash App. But basically, you upload money to your Cash App. You get a debit card, and you essentially spend money out of that fund instead of out of your bank account. So I just see $200 going towards Nate's Cash App. I don't see all of those little expenses, and it doesn't drive me crazy. And that has just been wonderful for our dynamic. It's just been so much fun. Like, I really love to spend my fun money on clothes or random things or like my guilty pleasures. So like, I love Sims, right? Like, that's just the most embarrassing thing about me is I love Sims. And so if I want an expansion pack for Sims, I have the fun money to be able to do that. Or if I want to save up and get a balayage for my hair, I can do that. I think $200 a month is a really great amount for being able to like stack that money and buy things that are bigger expenses. Or if you're someone like my husband who likes a lot more little purchases here and there, that's a great amount too. And so we actually haven't changed that $200 a month in about 5 years. It's always been $200 a month. And so that has been amazing, and that just keeps all of those superfluous spending things in our budgets condensed into one thing. And it's like, we know that anything else outside of what is in our budget, if we want it, we're going to spend our fun money on it. And that's just a way to put everything in a container, all those little extra things that you want to get. It has a place and it has a cap, right? And so if you think that $200 is a lot, I would actually be curious how much money you're spending on coffee or clothes or little things that you buy throughout the month. Add it all up per person and see what you're each spending. And yes, the savings person or the frugal person in your relationship might not have that much money spent that month, but I would be willing to bet that person buys higher ticket items less frequently. And in that case, that would be fun money too. So just a tip on that. We love fun money. I can't recommend it enough. It has just been honestly the biggest game changer for our dynamic with marriage and money and cleaning up our budget. The last thing I want to say is that if you're someone that's maybe newer to this, or you don't love budgeting, or the word budget just sounds like nails on a chalkboard and makes you have a physical reaction, all I want to say is that a budget is just prioritizing what matters to you. That's it. I'll say it again. A budget is prioritizing what matters to you. If you have any questions, reach out and let me know. Again, I'm not an expert, but I'm just someone that loves this and I'm passionate about it. And I do recommend Rocket Money. If you're new to this, you can link all of your accounts to Rocket Money and it just shows everything all on one page. You can create budgets on it. It expense tracks for you. It's so user-friendly and amazing. I really, really love Rocket Money. I was a religious YNAB user for about 5 years, and I eventually just had to make the switch because even someone like me, I was like, this is just too time consuming. Rocket Money just makes it way easier. And so there will be a referral link in my show notes for Rocket Money. And I'm also going to have the link to my budget spreadsheet so you can just see everything I talked about as well. But anyways, I hope that this was interesting and fun to listen to, and I will see you guys next time.